The decades vanished like smoke now. You're wondering what was real and what actually mattered. Tonight, 10 philosophies that'll shatter how you see time success and what makes life worth living before it's too late. If this resonates, a subscribe is appreciated. Now let's begin. Philosophy 1. The Boltzmann Brain Paradox. Imagine you wake up this morning in your familiar bedroom. The alarm clock shows 6:47 a.m. Your wife sleeps peacefully beside you. Through the window, you see the same oak tree you've watched for 25 years. But here's a question that might unsettle you. What proves this isn't the first time you've ever opened your eyes? Every memory you hold your daughter's birth, your wedding day, that promotion you earned 15 years ago, even what you had for dinner last night, all of it could have spontaneously formed just 3 seconds ago. This is the Boltzmann Brain Paradox, and it's about to challenge everything you believe about your existence. In the late 1800s, physicist Ludwig Boltzmann was contemplating entropy, the tendency of all things to move from order to chaos. Think of it like your garage. It's much easier for tools to scatter across the floor than to spontaneously organize themselves on the pegboard. The universe works the same way. But here's where things get strange in an infinite universe with infinite time. Anything that can happen, no matter how improbable, must eventually happen. Now consider this. Which is more likely that our entire universe with its billions of galaxies emerged from the Big Bang and evolved over 13.8 billion years to create your current experience? Or that a single brain with all your memories and consciousness spontaneously formed from random atoms floating in space? According to probability, the second scenario is vastly more likely. Think of it like Lego bricks floating in zero gravity, which would randomly form first a small house or an entire city. The house, of course. Similarly, a single brain requiring fewer atoms in precise arrangement is exponentially more probable than an entire universe. This means statistically, you're more likely to be a Boltzmann brain, a cosmic accident that just popped into existence, than a real person with a real history. Let me make this personal. You're 52 years old. This morning, you looked at your wife sleeping beside you, 25 years of marriage, of arguments and reconciliations, of building a life together. Your daughter is finishing her final year of college. You've spent 30 years climbing the career ladder, earning respect, building expertise. But what if all of this, every memory, every emotion, every supposed experience, only began existing 3 seconds ago? That first time you held your newborn daughter, her tiny fingers wrapping around yours. Was it real? Or just a false memory implanted in a brain that spontaneously formed moments ago? That first kiss with your wife, the nervous excitement, did it actually happen? Or is it merely the random firing of neurons in a cosmic fluke? The weight of this question isn't just philosophical, it strikes at the very foundation of who you believe yourself to be. Some philosophers argue this paradox reveals a fundamental flaw in our understanding of probability and the universe. Others suggest it might point to a deeper truth about consciousness itself. Perhaps we're all thoughts in the mind of a greater consciousness, or perhaps our understanding of cosmic probability needs serious revision. The paradox challenges us to examine the very nature of reality and existence. But here's the liberating thought. If you are a Boltzmann brain that just spontaneously formed, you'll never be able to prove it one way or the other. And if you can't prove it, then you might as well accept your experiences as real. Whether you're a brain floating in space, or a human being with a genuine history. Your consciousness, your thoughts, your experiences, they're real to you in this moment. That's what matters. As you rest with this knowledge, consider this: the inability to distinguish between these possibilities isn't a weakness. It's an invitation to appreciate the extraordinary mystery of consciousness itself. Whether your life spans 50 years or 3 seconds, each moment you experience carries the same weight, the same meaning, the same reality within your awareness. In the end, the Boltzmann brain paradox teaches us something profound. If this is the only second you truly exist, then live as though it's worth an eternity. Every experience, real or randomly generated, is your experience. And perhaps that's enough. Philosophy 2. The egg theory. Picture this: you're driving home after a long day at the office. The traffic light turns green. You press the accelerator, then nothing. No pain, no fear, just sudden darkness followed by an inexplicable calm. You blink, confused, finding yourself in a space that feels both nowhere and everywhere at once. A presence approaches, neither threatening nor comforting, simply knowing. Before you can speak, they tell you, you died. But what comes next will change everything you thought you understood. And then they say the words that shatter reality. Everyone you've ever met, every single person, they're all you. This is the egg theory, a thought-provoking story by Andy Weir, author of The Martian. In just a few hundred words, this theory proposes something extraordinary. What if we are all the same soul reincarnating across time, experiencing every single life in the history of humanity? You are not just you. You are also every person who has ever lived, is living, and will live. You are Hitler and Gandhi. You are the homeless man and the CEO. You are your own child. Think of it like this. Earth is a cosmic egg, and inside this egg, one soul is incubating. Each life you live, from a Roman soldier to a medieval peasant to a modern-day accountant, is another lesson, another perspective, another piece of understanding. When you've experienced every possible human existence, when you've felt every joy and every suffering, the egg will hatch. You'll emerge as something greater, perhaps, even like the being who's explaining this to you now. The purpose isn't individual achievement. It's accumulating empathy, understanding, and wisdom across all of human experience. Now let me make this hit home. You're at the office, and a young employee makes a mistake that costs the company money. You lose your temper, your voice rising as you dress him down in front of others. You see the shame in his eyes, the way his shoulders slump. In the egg theory, that's not just another person, that's you in a different life. The humiliation he feels, the self-doubt that will plague him for weeks, you will experience that exact pain when you live his life. You're not just being cruel to someone else, you're being cruel to yourself. Consider your divorce 5 years ago. The bitter arguments, the hurtful words you threw at each other, the way you knew exactly which wounds to reopen to cause maximum damage. In this framework, your ex-wife isn't another person you once loved. She's you in a different timeline. Every ounce of pain you inflicted on her is pain you will endure when you live her life. The tears she cried alone at night, those will be your tears. And your father sitting in that nursing home you visit once a month, when guilt overcomes convenience, that's you too. The loneliness he feels when weeks pass, without a call, the slow erosion of dignity, the sense of being a burden. You'll experience all of it when you live his life. Every time you chose work over visiting him, you were choosing to abandon yourself. The egg theory takes the spiritual concept of universal oneness and makes it literal, not metaphorical. It transforms the golden rule from a moral guideline into fundamental truth. Treat others as yourself isn't advice, it's a description of reality. Every conflict you have is actually an internal struggle with another version of yourself. Every act of cruelty is self-harm. Every act of kindness is self-love. Think about the implications. That homeless person you walked past yesterday without making eye contact, that's you learning what it means to be invisible. Your colleague who got the promotion you wanted, that's you experiencing success from a different angle. The refugee you saw on the news, that's you understanding survival and loss. Their failures and triumphs are your failures and triumphs, just in lives you haven't lived yet. This perspective doesn't just encourage empathy, it makes empathy a necessity. It's not about being morally good, it's about basic self-preservation. When you lift someone up, you're investing in your own future experience. When you push someone down, you're digging a hole you'll eventually fall into. As you contemplate this theory, whether you believe it literally or see it as metaphor, recognize its profound message. Every interaction is an opportunity to reconcile with parts of yourself you don't yet know exist. Compassion isn't just ethical, it's intelligent. Because in the grand design of the egg, every hand you extend to help another is a hand extended to yourself. When you raise someone up, you're lifting yourself. When you push someone down, you're digging your own grave. In the end, we're all just one soul learning to love itself through loving others. Philosophy. 3. The experience machine theory. It's 2024, and imagine a machine exists that can give you the perfect life. Press a button and you're traveling the world experiencing extraordinary success, living in a flawless marriage. Plug a wire into your brain and everything feels absolutely real. The sensation of achievement, the warmth of love, the thrill of adventure. Here's the question that reveals something profound about human nature. Would you plug yourself in to live happily ever after? This is the experience machine, a thought experiment proposed by philosopher Robert Nozick in 1974. He presented it as a challenge to hedonism, the belief that pleasure and happiness are the highest goods in life. The catch is simple yet devastating. Once you're plugged in, you won't know you're inside it. Every experience will feel authentic, every emotion vivid, but it will all be artificial, a sophisticated simulation. So, would you choose it? Think about 2 scenarios. Scenario 1, your real life complete with struggle, failure, pain, and hard-earned success. Scenario 2, a perfect simulated life where everything goes right. Zero struggle, pure pleasure. If happiness and pleasure are truly all that matter, then choosing the machine should be obvious. But here's what Nozick discovered. Most people hesitate. Most people say no. Why? Because we value something more than just feeling good. Let me make this personal. You've spent 30 years building your company. Blood, sweat, and tears poured into every decision, every late night, every risk. You've earned your success through countless failures and lessons learned. Now imagine the machine could give you the instant feeling of that same success, without the effort, without the struggle. You'd feel accomplished, proud, fulfilled. But here's the pain in the machine. Your success isn't real. You didn't actually build anything. The achievement you feel so proud of, it's just electrical impulses in a simulated brain. Consider your marriage 25 years of fighting and growing together, of learning to compromise, of deep love forged through weathering storms. The machine could give you a perfect wife, perfect children, zero conflict, pure harmony. But in the machine, they don't actually love you. They're not real people who chose you, who stayed with you through hard times. They're code programmed to make you feel loved. Would that be enough? Think about that moment last spring when your daughter graduated college. You sat in the audience watching her walk across that stage, and tears filled your eyes. Pride washed over you, not just for her achievement, but for every sacrifice you made to help her get there, every college fund payment, every encouraging conversation. The machine could simulate that exact feeling, but your daughter wouldn't actually exist. That pride you feel, it would be manufactured, not earned. Does that distinction matter? Nozick's experiment challenges the idea that consciousness is just physical processes. It reveals that we value authenticity, real relationships with real people. We value agency, making genuine choices that have consequences. We value struggle, earning our achievements through effort. We value growth, becoming better through facing real challenges. These things can't be simulated without losing what makes them meaningful. Look at our modern world. Social media is like a mini experience machine. We curate perfect lives, seek fake validation through likes, chase dopamine hits from strangers' approval. But deep down, we know it's hollow. 1,000 likes from people who don't know you can't replace one real conversation with someone who does. In relationships, real love with all its flaws beats perfect but fake every time. In your career, a small real success means more than a huge fake achievement. The wrinkles on your face, the scars on your hands, the gray in your hair, they're not flaws to be erased. They're evidence of an authentic life lived, of real experiences that shaped you. Happiness isn't the goal. Meaning is. And meaning comes from reality, from struggle, from authenticity. An imperfect real life is infinitely more valuable than a perfect fake one. The scar on your hand from building your daughter's treehouse isn't as pretty as the smooth hands you'd have in the machine. But it's real, and that's exactly why it matters. Philosophy 4. The lottery of birth theory. Before you were born, imagine you drew a cosmic lottery ticket. This ticket determined everything: which country you'd be born in, who your parents would be, what era you'd live in, your genetic makeup, your starting resources. You chose none of it. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Everything you take pride in about yourself began with a gamble you had no control over. This is the lottery of birth theory, and it poses a profound question. Did you actually earn your starting point? You didn't choose to be born in America instead of a war-torn country. You didn't select tech executive parents over poverty. You didn't pick being born in 2024 versus 1524, or having a healthy body versus chronic disease. Your foundation was given to you by pure chance. Think of life like a poker game. Skill absolutely matters. How you play your cards determines much of your outcome. But the cards you're dealt matter even more. Give a master poker player a pair of aces and give a beginner 7 deuce offsuit, and the beginner will lose almost every time regardless of skill. Same game, same rules. Drastically different outcomes based purely on what luck handed them. Or imagine arriving at a theater where a play is already in progress. You didn't choose the script, the stage, the role you'd play, or the audience watching. Some people arrive in the spotlight with a full supporting cast and abundant resources. Others arrive in a dim corner with no resources and no one watching. Neither earned their position, they simply showed up. Let me make this hit close to home. You were born in 1970s America to a middle-class family. You attended good schools in a safe neighborhood. English is your native language. Your timing was perfect. You came of age during the tech boom when opportunities exploded. Your career success followed. But here's the painful question. How much of that success was merit, and how much was luck you did nothing to deserve? Now consider your colleague from Vietnam. He's equally talented, perhaps more hardworking than you. But he came to the US at 30, struggling with English, starting his career 3 decades behind. Same intelligence, stronger work ethic, but less success. Not because he's less capable, but because his lottery ticket started him 30 years behind yours. And here's the deepest pain your children attend. Private school have a college fund and benefit from your connections and resources. Compare that to the janitor's children struggling with basic needs, attending underfunded schools with no safety net. Neither your children nor his earned their positions. They're simply living with the tickets they were dealt. Warren Buffett called this the ovarian lottery. He acknowledged that being born male white in America in the 20th century gave him advantages he never earned. His success was built on a foundation of luck, and he knew it. This understanding has profound implications. Merit isn't the full story. Effort matters, yes, but it operates within boundaries set by birth. Success isn't just about hard work. It's luck multiplied by effort, all within the context of circumstances you never chose. This raises uncomfortable questions about social justice. If birth is random, what's our obligation to those who lost the lottery? The answer isn't guilt about privilege, it's understanding. It's recognizing that your achievements exist in the context of fortune, while others' struggles exist in the context of misfortune. The practical applications are clear. Practice humility. Acknowledge that your success stands on lucky foundations. Cultivate empathy. Recognize that others' failures often stem from unlucky starting points. Take action. Mentor someone disadvantaged. Acknowledge systemic barriers. Use your privilege to create opportunities for others. Teach your children about their unearned advantages so they grow up grateful rather than entitled. This theory isn't about feeling guilty. It's about understanding. There, but for fortune, go I. You could have been born anywhere to anyone in any circumstances. The only difference between you and someone struggling is the ticket you drew from the cosmic lottery. You didn't choose your lottery ticket, but you choose what to do with what it gave you. And more importantly, you choose how you treat those who drew losing tickets. That choice, that's the only one that truly measures who you are. Philosophy 5. The temporal experience theory. You're 50 years old, and when you look back, the last 30 years feel like they passed in the blink of an eye. Yet, when you remember your childhood, each summer seemed to stretch on forever. Every day rich with detail and discovery. Here's an unsettling truth: time itself hasn't changed, but the way you experience it is accelerating your life, making decades feel like months. This is the temporal experience theory, which explores the profound difference between objective time and subjective time. A vacation flies by in what feels like moments. A boring work meeting drags on eternally. Your childhood felt endless, But your adult life races past at increasing speed. The clock ticks at the same rate, but your perception of that ticking changes dramatically. Think of time like water flowing through a river. The flow rate remains constant, but your perception of it varies based on where you stand and how you're observing it. Or consider a camera's frame rate. In childhood, your brain captures experiences at high frame rate recording. Tremendous detail making time feel longer in retrospect. In adulthood, the frame rate drops less detail. Captured time feels shorter. It's like comparing a photo album from your first day of school filled with 100 vivid memories to a random Tuesday at 50, which merges into an indistinct blur with countless other Tuesdays. Let me show you where this hurts. Your daughter just left for college. You helped her move into the dorm, and as you drove away, it hit you. It feels like yesterday you were holding her for the first time in the hospital. Her tiny fingers wrapped around yours. 18 years gone in what feels like a blur. The regret cuts deep. How many moments did you miss because you were too busy? How many evenings did you choose work over reading her a bedtime story? You can't get those moments back, and the speed at which they disappeared makes it worse. Consider your career routine. Same commute every morning, same meetings every week, same weekend pattern. Monday arrives, and suddenly it's Friday. You blink, and another year has passed indistinguishable from the year before. The realization hits hard. Your life is speeding up because nothing is new anymore. You're not creating memories, you're repeating patterns. The days blend together because they're identical. And your parents, when did they get so old? You saw your father last month, and now you're at his funeral. It feels like you just talked to him, yet somehow months slipped by between visits. The time passed faster because those visits became routine, predictable, forgettable. You didn't savor them because you thought there would always be more. Now there aren't. 3 factors control your perception of time's passage. First, novelty. New experiences create detailed memories, making time feel longer in retrospect. Routine creates blur, making time feel shorter. Your first day at a job feels longer than your 100th because your brain is processing new information. Second, attention flow states make time disappear. Boredom makes it cruel. Presence expands time. Distraction compresses it. Third, the age factor when your 5 1-year represents 20% of your entire life. It's enormous. At 51 year is just 2%, it's tiny. This proportional perspective explains why childhood felt endless and adulthood races past. But here's the liberating truth. While you can't control time's objective passage, you absolutely control your experience of it. The solution to life flying by is surprisingly simple: seek novelty. Take up new hobbies, travel to new places, learn new skills. Break your routine drive, different routes to work. Try new restaurants, rearrange your furniture. Be present, practice mindfulness. Put your phone down, actually notice the world around you. Create memorable moments through quality time with family. Make it practical. Weekly, try one new thing, even if it's just a different coffee shop. Monthly, go somewhere you've never been. Yearly, learn a skill you've always wanted to master. Daily, notice 3 details. You usually miss the color of the sky, the sound of birds, the feeling of air on your skin. Time's passage is beyond your control, but time's experience, that's entirely within your power. Novelty plus attention equals a richer, fuller life. Your finite time can feel infinite if you live it fully, consciously, deliberately. Being 50 can feel like 2 years of blur, or it can feel like 20 years packed with richness. The difference: each morning when you wake up, you choose, will you live today or will you live yesterday again? Philosophy 6. Mono no aware. Picture yourself sitting beneath a cherry blossom tree in full bloom. A gentle breeze stirs and petals begin to fall one by one, dancing through the air before settling softly on the ground. You know that in 2 days, all these flowers will be gone. The beauty is almost painful, not despite its impermanence, but because of it. This is mono no aware, a Japanese concept that reveals a profound truth. Real beauty doesn't exist, in spite of things passing away, but precisely because everything must pass. Mono no aware literally translates to the pathos of things, but its meaning runs far deeper. It's the sweet sadness of impermanence, the bittersweet awareness that nothing lasts. It's not nostalgia though, there's overlap. It's a deeper consciousness of transience itself, a recognition that the temporary nature of all things is what gives them meaning and beauty. Think of holding a handful of sand. Grip it tightly and it slips through your fingers faster. Hold it gently and you can appreciate it while it's there. Mono no aware teaches us not to clutch desperately at moments, but to appreciate them precisely because they're slipping away. Or consider looking through old photographs, seeing younger faces, places that have changed moments long past. The feeling isn't pure sadness or pure joy. That tender ache, that gentle melancholy, that's mono no aware. Let me make this personal. There was a day you don't remember which one when you picked up your child for the last time. You didn't know it was the last time. They simply grew too big, too heavy, too old to be carried. The moment passed unremarked because you assumed there would always be another, but there wasn't. You didn't savor that final time because you didn't know it was final. That's the pain of not understanding mono. No aware we miss the preciousness of moments because we don't recognize their impermanence. Think about your father's hands. You remember them from childhood, strong, capable hands that could fix anything, build anything. Now they're wrinkled, weak, trembling. Soon those hands will be gone forever. The beauty of those hands isn't diminished by their deterioration, it's enhanced. They're beautiful because they're temporary, because they tell the story of a life lived, because you won't have them forever. That's mono no aware, finding beauty in the fact that nothing lasts. Consider the peak of your career, that moment of greatest professional achievement, when everything came together and you felt on top of the world. Even as you celebrated, part of you knew it would pass. The next generation is coming. Younger, hungrier people are climbing the same ladder. Your moment in the spotlight is temporary. But that's exactly what makes it precious. If it lasted forever, it would lose its meaning. Success is beautiful because it's fleeting. In Japanese culture, cherry blossoms hold special significance because they bloom for only 7 to 10 days. Their beauty is enhanced by their brevity. People gather specifically to watch the falling petals celebrating impermanence rather than mourning it. This is fundamentally different from sadness. It's not about grieving what's lost. It's about finding beauty in the fact that nothing lasts. Impermanence isn't a flaw in the universe. It's what gives life depth and meaning. In our modern world, we have digital photos that create an illusion of permanence. We can replay videos, revisit memories, preserve moments indefinitely. But the actual moment, that singular experience in time, is gone forever. You can't replay life. Each moment happens once and never again. Apply this wisdom practically. With your parents, recognize that each visit could be the last. Savor it. With your children, understand that each phase passes and never returns. Be present. With your health and strength, know they won't last forever. Appreciate them now. With your spouse, recognize that love evolves and ages. Cherish each stage. With your career, understand your peak will pass. Enjoy it without clinging to it. Impermanence isn't sad news. It's what makes life precious. Every sunset is unique. Every laugh is unrepeatable. Every moment is a singular gift that will never come again in exactly the same way. If cherry blossoms didn't fall, we wouldn't gather to watch them. If your children didn't grow up, you wouldn't treasure each phase. The pain of losing things is proof of the value of having them. That's mono-no-aware. The sweet ache of being alive in a world where nothing lasts forever and everything is more beautiful because of it. Philosophy 7. Wabi-sabi. Look at your hands right now. Notice the scars, the wrinkles, the calluses built up over decades of work. Scroll through Instagram and you'll see hands that are smooth, flawless, seemingly untouched by time. But here's a truth that might change everything. A cracked bowl repaired with gold is more beautiful than a perfect bowl. And so are you. This is wabi-sabi, a Japanese philosophy that finds beauty in imperfection, impermanence, and incompleteness. At its heart is kintsugi, the art of repairing broken pottery with gold. Instead of hiding the damage, the repair celebrates it. The cracks become the most beautiful part of the object, highlighted in precious metal. The philosophy suggests that scars don't diminish value, they increase it. Think of an old wooden bench in a garden. It's been weathered by rain, and sun moss grows in its crevices. The grain has become pronounced over years of use. Someone focused on perfection would say it needs replacement. But through the lens of wabi-sabi, that bench has grown more beautiful with time. Each mark tells a story. Or consider a perfect sphere. It exists only in mathematics. In nature, everything is asymmetrical, weathered, imperfect. That's not a flaw in the universe. That's the essence of reality. Let me make this hit where it hurts. You're looking at yourself in the mirror, the beer belly, the gray hair, the reading glasses you now need. Society screams at you. Anti-aging. Turn back the clock. Fight the inevitable. You feel inadequate, like you're losing a battle against time. But wabi-sabi offers a revolutionary perspective. Each wrinkle is a story lived. That gray hair represents wisdom earned. That belly, it's from thousands of meals shared with family and friends. These aren't flaws to fix. They're evidence of a life well lived. Consider your marriage. Maybe you went through divorce or nearly did before reconciling. Your relationship has scars, deep ones. You look at couples on social media with their curated perfection and feel like you failed. But wabi-sabi reveals the truth. Those cracks you repaired with effort, communication, and forgiveness make your relationship more beautiful than one that's never been tested. A marriage that's weathered storms and still stands is worth infinitely more than one that looks perfect, because it's never faced real challenges. Think about your career. Maybe you got fired at 45. You had to rebuild from scratch, take steps backward, swallow your pride. Your path wasn't linear like you planned. The shame cuts deep, feeling less than those who had smooth trajectories. But wabi-sabi says the struggle is precisely what makes your eventual success meaningful. The setbacks, The rebuilding, the lessons learned, their gold filling your cracks. Our modern culture wars against wabi-sabi constantly. Photoshop erases every imperfection. Filters create false perfection. Social media demands curated flawlessness. Wabi-sabi stands as revolutionary counterculture. It appears in asymmetrical pottery-weathered temple stones, worn book covers, wrinkles around smiling eyes, patina on old copper. But this philosophy extends far beyond aesthetics. It's a worldview that accepts fundamental truths. Nothing lasts. Nothing is complete. Nothing is perfect. And that's not a bug in reality's code. That's the feature that makes life meaningful. Apply this practically. Practice self-acceptance. Your body's changes are evidence of life lived fully. Your mistakes are growth opportunities. Your imperfections are what make you uniquely you. In relationships, recognize that perfect partnerships don't exist. Real relationships are weather-tested and still standing. That's what matters. With aging, stop fighting it and embrace it. Each wrinkle was earned. On social media, quit curating a perfect image. Share your real, imperfect life. Perfection is both an illusion and boring. Your cracks filled with the gold of experience make you priceless. Real beauty isn't flawless. It's lived, weathered, authentic. The perfect bowl gets forgotten on the shelf, dusty and unused. The cracked bowl repaired with gold gets passed down from generation to generation. Not because it's perfect, but because it's real. Because it has a story. Because it's beautiful in a way only life can create. Philosophy 8. MA. Take a deep breath right now. Hold it. Now release it slowly. In that pause between breaths, that moment of stillness lies something profound. That nothing isn't empty. It's everything. This is Ma, a Japanese concept that might be the most misunderstood idea in Western culture. Ma isn't empty space. It's the interval where meaning resides. The kanji character shows the sun shining through an open gate. The space itself allows brilliance to enter. Without that opening, there's no light. Think about music. A beautiful melody isn't just the notes being played. It's the notes plus the spaces between them. Without those intervals, you don't have music. You have noise. Every great song, every memorable piece lives as much in the silences as in the sounds. Or consider a conversation with someone you truly love. The meaning isn't just in the words spoken. It's in the thoughtful pauses between sentences. The comfortable silence that communicates understanding deeper than language. That silence is pregnant with meaning, not empty of it. Look at white space in calligraphy. The empty space isn't wasted. It gives the black ink its power and beauty. Without that space, the characters blur together into meaninglessness. Let me show you where you're missing more and what it's costing you. You're constantly busy meeting to meeting, email to call, task to task. You fill every gap with productivity. You're exhausted, but somehow you feel empty. What's missing? Ma, the spaces between activities where meaning can emerge, where insights can surface, where you can actually process what you're experiencing. You're so busy adding notes that you've eliminated the music. Consider your relationship with your teenage son. He's distant, doesn't open up. Your instinct is to fill every silence with questions, advice, attempts to connect. The more you talk, the more he pulls away. What you both need is more comfortable silent space to just be together without agenda or pressure. Sometimes connection happens not in the talking, but in the quiet spaces between words. Retirement is approaching. and you're terrified of empty days. You rush to fill your schedule with golf travel hobbies, anything to avoid the void. But here's what you're missing: that void you fear is Ma. It's the space where meaning can finally emerge after 30 years of constant doing. You don't retire to fill empty days. You retire to create the space where life's deeper significance can reveal itself. Our modern world is fundamentally anti-Ma. We check phones in elevators. We play background music everywhere. We scroll during every waiting moment. We've declared war on empty space, on silence, on stillness. But Ma appears everywhere, waiting to be noticed the moment before sunrise, when the world holds its breath, the space between reaching for someone's hand and actually touching it, the silence after a profound question, the blank canvas before the first brushstroke. In traditional Japanese homes, there's often a tokonoma, an empty alcove with nothing in it. Westerners see wasted space. Japanese see a vessel for possibility, a place where imagination can dwell. Apply this practically. At work, those breaks between meetings aren't wasted time. They're where insights happen, where your mind processes and connects ideas. Thinking time isn't unproductive. It's essential. In relationships, silence together isn't awkward. It's a sign of deep connection. In creativity, that blank page isn't nothing. It's all possibilities waiting to be chosen. In life itself, doing nothing isn't wasting time. It's necessary for your soul. Emptiness isn't empty, like a vessel that's useful precisely because it's hollow, or a window that serves its purpose through its opening life's meaning, lives in the spaces between things. You didn't retire to fill empty days. You retired to create the space where real meaning can finally emerge. After 30 years of constant noise, don't fear the silence. Let it hold you. Let it reveal what all that busyness was hiding. The space isn't void. It's where everything you've been looking for has been waiting all along. Philosophy. 9. The philosophical parking lot theory. You're circling the parking lot for the 5th time. Your anxiety climbs with each loop. You need the perfect spot close to the entrance, easy to pull into. Your jaw clenches. Your frustration builds. You're about to give up and park in the back when suddenly, boom, 3 perfect spots appear right in front of you. This mundane experience reveals a profound truth. The thing you desperately seek is often the thing that eludes you most. This is the philosophical parking lot theory, and it's not really about parking at all. It's a metaphor for life's most persistent paradox. Desperate desire often prevents obtaining what you want. Grip something too tightly, and it slips through your fingers like water. Think about circling that parking lot. Each loop increases your anxiety. You become fixated on finding the perfect spot. In this tense state, you either miss perfectly good spaces because they don't match your ideal, or you're too wound up to maneuver smoothly when you finally find one. It's like stargazing. Look directly at a faint star and it disappears. Relax your gaze. Look slightly to the side, and suddenly the star appears. This is called averted vision. Or consider trying to fall asleep. Force it, and you become more awake. Let go, stop trying, and sleep comes naturally. Let me show you where this pattern is sabotaging your life. You're divorced and desperate not to be alone. Every date carries enormous pressure. Could this be the one? Your desperation is visible, palpable. It pushes people away. They sense your need, your clutching energy, and they run. But the moment you let go, Focus on yourself. Find contentment in solitude. Suddenly, connections appear naturally. People are drawn to someone who's complete on their own, not someone hunting desperately for completion. Consider that business deal you need desperately. The contract that will save your company, secure your retirement, validate years of work. You enter negotiations too eager, too willing to compromise. Your desperation shows, and it becomes your weakness. You accept bad terms because you can't afford to walk away. But imagine entering with a walk-away mentality, willing to lose the deal. Suddenly, your position strengthens. Often, they start chasing you. Think about your adult son. You want him to call more, to be closer, to care about the relationship as much as you do. So you call, constantly text, frequently apply subtle pressure. The more you push, the more he resists. It's physics. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. But give him space, stop the pressure. Let him breathe. Suddenly, he reaches out naturally. The connection you craved appears when you stopped demanding it. This theory operates on 3 principles. First, the law of inverse effort. The harder you try to achieve something, the more it eludes you. This applies to sleep, love, happiness, the core desires of human life. Second, the paradox of attachment. Become too attached to a specific outcome, and you become blind to alternatives. Like the driver fixated on a front row spot who misses multiple good spaces further back. Third, the liberation of surrender. Let go of desperate searching, and your perception shifts. Relaxed, you become more aware, more present, and ironically, more likely to find what you're looking for. Ancient wisdom traditions understood this. Buddhists teach non-attachment. Taoists speak of wu-wei, effortless action, going with the flow. Stoics emphasize accepting what you cannot control. Modern life has forgotten these lessons, teaching instead that success comes from relentless pursuit, tight control, desperate striving. Apply this practically. In your career, desperate hunger for promotion makes you try too hard. Make mistakes appear needy. But do great work. Let results speak. Show you don't need the promotion, and it finds you. With health, obsessing over sleep creates insomnia. Create good conditions, then let go and sleep comes. With money, desperation leads to bad decisions. Focus on creating value and wealth follows naturally. In relationships, clinginess pushes people away. Security in yourself attracts them. Your greatest obstacle is often your own desperate desire for control. Life's gifts come through a delicate balance of intention and surrender. Set the direction, create the conditions, then let go of the outcome. Men at 50 understand something younger men don't. Strength isn't about gripping tighter. Strength is knowing when to loosen your hold. The most powerful punch doesn't come from a clenched fist. It comes from relaxation, from letting the natural flow of energy move through you. Same with life. Create the conditions for what you want, then relax your grip and let it come to you. Philosophy 10. The Library of Babel. Imagine a library that contains every book ever written, and every book that could possibly be written. Somewhere in its infinite corridors is the complete works of Shakespeare, your exact life story from birth to death, and the answer to every question you've ever asked. The solution to every problem exists within its walls. But here's the crushing reality. It's all buried in an ocean of noise. This is your life with Google. This is the Library of Babel, a concept from Argentine writer Jorge Luis Borges, published in 1941. He imagined a universe that is actually a library, infinite hexagonal rooms filled with books containing every possible combination of letters, every truth and every lie, every profound insight and infinite nonsense, every answer you need, and trillions of wrong answers. Think about what exists in this library. The complete works of Shakespeare, yes. Near duplicates of Shakespeare with one letter changed, yes. Your exact life story down to this moment. Yes. Versions of your life you never lived. Yes. Pure gibberish filling millions of books. Absolutely. Finding truth in this library is like searching for a specific needle in an infinite haystack. The answer exists, but it's drowned in noise. Let me show you where you're living in the Library of Babel right now. Your doctor calls with concerning test results. It might be serious. We need more tests. You immediately Google your symptoms. Within minutes, you found 10,000 articles. Some say it's nothing, probably stress-related. Others suggest you have 6 months to live. Medical journals, conspiracy theories, anecdotes, studies all contradicting each other. Which is the truth? You're paralyzed by infinite information, unable to distinguish signal from noise. This is the Library of Babel translated into modern life. Consider retirement planning. How much money do you need? You turn to the internet for answers. One article says 500,000 is plenty. Another insists you need 5 million. Some experts say stocks are safe for long-term growth. Others warn they're too risky at your age. Retire early and enjoy life. No work until 70 to be secure. Every piece of advice contradicts the last. The truth exists somewhere in that ocean of information, but you're drowning in conflicting wisdom. Your marriage is struggling. Late at night, unable to sleep, you search for relationship advice online. Never go to bed angry, one source insists. Another says, sometimes you need to sleep on it before discussing. Talk everything out immediately. No, give each other space. Stay together for the kids. Actually, kids need happy parents, even if that means divorce. You have infinite wisdom at your fingertips, which paradoxically equals no wisdom at all. Here's the paradox. Borges identified. An infinite library contains every truth, but the overwhelming majority of its content is meaningless noise. Even if all knowledge exists somewhere, most of it is practically inaccessible, buried under mountains of garbage. The internet is the Library of Babel 2.0. We have more information than any generation in history, yet distinguishing truth from falsehood has never been harder. Borges predicted this problem decades before the digital age. In Borges' story, librarians spend their entire lives searching through books, hoping to find one coherent answer, one moment of clarity. This mirrors the human condition, our perpetual search for meaning, in a vast, often unknowable universe. We're all librarians stumbling through infinite corridors, desperate for truth. The information age problem isn't lack of information, it's overload. What we need are filters, judgment, wisdom. Trust fewer but better sources. Accept that not all questions have clear answers. Value experiential wisdom over Google wisdom. Talk to people who've actually lived through what you're facing. Their single story may be worth more than 10,000 articles. There's an existentialist insight here. We must create our own meaning, because the universe doesn't offer clear answers. When the library contains infinite answers, that's functionally the same as zero answers. You must choose, must decide, must take responsibility for picking your truth from the noise. Knowledge isn't about collecting facts. It's about navigating uncertainty. embracing the unknown, finding value in the journey rather than demanding a clear destination. The Library of Babel contains every answer. The internet contains every answer. But the wise man isn't the one who knows the most. He's the one who knows what to trust, what to ignore, and most importantly, what to accept as unknowable. At 50, you've lived long enough to understand some questions have no clear answers. Some problems have no perfect solutions. And the search for certainty in an uncertain world is itself the problem. Wisdom isn't knowing everything. Wisdom is knowing what matters.